Have you ever found yourself struggling with anxiety, desperately searching for a way out? Have you ever wanted to destroy it, convinced that its disappearance was the only key to finding serenity? Often when we suffer from anxiety or panic attacks, we embark on these internal challenges without realizing that the answer could lie in a completely different approach. Have you ever thought that to overcome anxiety, you must first learn to welcome it with openness and understanding? Thanks to the Zen story, we will explore an ancient Buddhist teaching embodied in the practice of Chod that teaches us to feed our inner demons instead of fighting them. So stay until the end, because we will see how to overcome anxiety by personifying your demons, a counterintuitive practice which surprises many people, but which is the best way to follow. But before continuing, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share the video. In this way, you will help us produce new content every day for your spiritual growth. In an ancient Buddhist monastery located among the Japanese mountains, the wise monk Masaki was used to transmit his wisdom to those who were willing to embark on a path of inner peace. One afternoon, as the golden evening light filtered through the windows of the meditation room, the master gathered his disciples to share with them a fundamental lesson on how to manage anxiety. "Dear disciples," Masaki began in a calm voice, "this afternoon we will explore together the path of peace through a practice called Chod. Know that this ancient practice teaches us to feed our demons rather than fight them. And this way of intervening on anxiety, depression, and stress is so powerful that it is the basis of many modern psychological approaches." The people gathered in the monastery listened with great attention, eager to know the secret to overcoming the anxiety that sometimes disturbed their inner tranquility. Masaki, happy to see how the disciples were attentive to his words, began teaching the 5 phases of the Chod method. "The first phase of Chod is finding the demon," the monk said. "When you start to feel bad because anxiety comes to visit you, close your eyes and immerse yourself in your thoughts. Tune into that feeling of anxiety without judging it or seeking explanations. Just welcome it." In this phase, we focus on awareness of our anxiety and suffering. The goal is to understand where it comes from, what causes it, in order to find the best solution to improve. What is the nature of our anxiety? Where does it reside in our body? Recognizing and embracing this emotion is the first step to understanding its origin and its impact on our lives. The disciples followed their teacher's instructions, diving into the recesses of their own minds, and Masaki continued, "Now, in the second phase, personify the demon. Imagine that anxiety is a figure, an entity separate from you. Maybe it has a face, a shape, a voice. Look at her with compassionate eyes, as if you were observing a friend in difficulty." This detachment, this personification of anxiety in a demon, allows us to see ourselves from a different angle and treat suffering with more kindness. Thanks to Masaki's words, the disciples began to visualize their demon in a new light, distant from their identity, but still an integral part of their daily lives. And above all, they began to look at him not as if he were an enemy to fight, but as a friend with whom to dialogue and seek a solution together. Masaki continued to guide them through the next stages, explaining the third stage, "Now become the demon, empathize with the suffering it brings. What he wants. What are your needs and desires? Feel in tune with it, understand it, take notes." This phase leads us to a deeper understanding of our suffering, allowing us to connect emotionally with the roots of our discomfort. It is an act of empathetic self-exploration. The disciples, increasingly interested in what they were learning, strove to get in touch with the depths of their emotions, trying to understand the human side of those unwanted feelings. And Masaki urged them to explore the deeper reasons behind their anxiety, guiding them towards self-understanding. The fourth phase is feeding the demon, Masaki continued. At this stage, he added, you must treat the demon with love and compassion. Visualize yourself offering him what he needs, hugging him with kindness. And as you do this practice, pay attention to the changes that occur in him and in you. This act of care and acceptance gradually transforms the nature of the demon, leading us to a more positive relationship with our suffering. The disciples, having known and understood their demon, found themselves feeding it with a gentleness they perhaps had never imagined possible. Masaki, in essence, guided them to recognize how kindness and compassion could transform the very nature of their demons. Finally, the old and wise monk reached the fifth phase, the one in which one must become aware of emptiness. Now, together with your demon fed and satisfied, plunge into the void. That is, recognize the ephemeral nature of suffering. Be present and aware of what is, without any attachment. You tone down the importance that you have always attributed to certain symptoms, to certain ailments. Masaki explained how this phase allowed them to perceive the transience of emotions, allowing inner wisdom to emerge. This phase, said the monk, allows us to understand that, ultimately, suffering is ephemeral. And the people present at this extraordinary lesson, guided by the wisdom and calm voice of their teacher, experienced a feeling of profound peace. The old monk, observing the serene faces of his disciples, smiled and added, guys, you have just embarked on a journey towards self-understanding and true inner peace. This practice of feeding your demons is a delicate but powerful art. Remember that embracing our demons, instead of fighting them and trying to chase them away at all costs, is the key to transforming anxiety into serenity. Masaki concluded the lesson with a collective meditation, during which the monks and all the other people present, enveloped in the tranquility of the monastery, deepened the practice of Chod. Through this ancient practice, the disciples learned that feeding their demons did not mean being dominated by their fears, but rather embracing them with wisdom and compassion. Every anxiety, every inner demon, became a teacher who taught them the beauty of acceptance and transformation. They finally understood that anxiety is nothing more than a messenger coming to inform them that there was something to change. Masaki, watching the disciples practice Chod with dedication, felt his heart fill with gratitude for the beauty he had seen blossoming in the monastery and in the people around him. And with a calm voice, he turned to his beloved disciples and said, remember that every emotion, even the darkest, can become a path to light if welcomed with love. Chod practice teaches us that the secret to true inner peace lies in accepting our demons instead of fighting them. Then, looking at the starry sky and reflecting on the wonder of life, he added, always remember that in every suffering there is a lesson hidden, and thanks to each demon, we have the possibility of awakening our compassion. Feed your hearts with kindness and awareness. Listen to your demons with gentleness and understanding, and the light within will guide your path. In conclusion, what does this story teach us? That loving acceptance of our inner challenges is the key to transforming suffering into wisdom. Feeding the demons within us with kindness, rather than fighting them and trying to repress or kill them, opens us to a deep understanding of ourselves, leading us down the path to inner peace. The moral of the story lies in the importance of embracing the totality of our human experience, as every emotion, even the darkest, can be a teacher guiding us toward the light of awareness and serenity. And what do you think of this ancient Chod method? And what experiences have you had with anxiety? Write it in the comments and let's talk about it together. Also, don't forget to learn more about the topic with the book you find by clicking the link in the description.